Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. Today we have a special top 10 show where we talk about the top 10 matches of the year. Not really top 10 matches of the year, really the matches that we enjoyed the most this year.
Yeah, exactly. I think rankings sometimes get a little bit arbitrary, so it's nice just to be like, hey, these are 10 awesome things you should go back and watch. No particular order, and no like, is this better than anyone else in any particular way? Just entertaining things.
10 matches that we would have you go back and rewatch. As always, I'm your host, Maine, joined with my co-host,
Emil.
How you doing, Emil?
I'm doing great. A little sick, but, you know.
Dude, it's the holiday season.
Exactly. Got my flu shot. Hopefully not going to get sicker.
Dude, I got the flu shot too. It was great. I recommend everyone get a goddamn flu shot.
Yes.
So, this is a fun. Dude, I love doing this show every year. I say like it's like long-standing tradition. This is the second year running where we've done a top 10 show. Last year we talked about the Flow Grappling Awards, but those literally just got released today, so we're not going to talk about those because we haven't got a chance to look at them, but we have put together a top 10 list of, not top 10, just like a 10 list of items we think you should go back and rewatch. And again, this is not necessarily like the best matches of the year. It's the ones we enjoyed the most. And you'll realize why we've caveated that a little later. We also have some highlight submissions of the year, some submissions that were like just beautiful that you should go back and rewatch, and then some other like marquee moments of the year. So you want to get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Where do you want to start? You want to start with, how do you want to do this? Do you want to interlace them with doing like a match of the year and then like a moment of the year, or you want to do all moments or all matches? How do you want to do it?
Why don't we start with big moments,
Okay.
Just kind of recap the year here. A lot of watershed moments in our sport that are pretty incredible. I think, we can talk about, let's start with the world champs, right?
Right.
We had Mike Musumeci, the first American IBJJF world champion to defend his title, winning consecutive IBJJF championships.
He's the only one to ever win 2 world titles, and he's the only one to actually ever do it 2 years in a row, which is really cool. It's not just 2 separate years. He did it back-to-back years, which is really, really cool. Another marquee you got more?
Well, I think it's worth mentioning that like he's on the cusp of what Maine and I like to call outliers, right? Like people who can repeat that world dominating performance, because we have you definitely have people out there who can occasionally, you'll see someone crack the worlds and win their division, but then you don't hear from them ever again.
You have guys that can do it once,
right?
And guys that can like show up on the scene and just like have a day, for some reason that day they were on top for it, have a year, have a 6-month period.
Right.
But guys that can do it consistently, where you see guys like, we talk about like outliers like Galvao and the Mendes, but like Hoffa and like Marcelo, and like the guys that could do it every time they went out. It was just like, oh, they were the guy to beat. It wasn't just like, oh, they had a really good run last year. It was like, no, every time they were in an event, they're the front runner. Gordon Ryan. Where it's like, that dude is the front runner to win anything he's in.
Well, I'll say Gordon isn't quite an outlier yet.
He's becoming an outlier. He's very, very on the cusp. Musumeci, again, is very, very on the cusp to do it 2 years in a row. Yeah. The only American ever to do it 2 years in a row. I would say if
he gets a third one anytime soon, then that's just outlier status.
Anytime at all, I think it would probably categorize him as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything else on that watershed moment?
No, it's just a big deal. It's awesome to see Americans kind of break through now, and we're really starting to see, like, especially we have now centers on the West Coast and now on the East Coast too that are starting to produce like world-class talent. And so it's really dope to see that.
So a combination watershed moment this year is we had Shane Jameel Hill Taylor win a world championship. He's the first African-American to ever win a world championship.
Which is awesome.
It's amazing. In conjunction with that, he's the first homegrown American to ever win a world championship. In conjunction with that, it's the first time we've ever had 2 American world champions.
Yeah. Everything, like, what he did was incredible. And he's doing it in a murderer's row of a division, like.
Yeah, oh my God. Like of all the divisions you could do that, and it's like, is he doing that? It's like, good for him.
Like, in terms of population density, like one of the highest stacked divisions. So just absolutely incredible. And another like absolutely watershed moment in jiu-jitsu. And then on that note too, in terms of just new watershed moments, we have now women's professional jiu-jitsu starting to really start to be up and coming, and is now on par in some promotions with men's like Black Belt CBD Invitational having paid out $30,000 to its women winners. So that's
Anna Vieira. Jesus, I butchered that name. Anna Vieira got paid out $30,000 for her victory at that event, which is the same purse as the men's divisions.
Yeah.
So that was a big moment. That a women's division getting paid out that much money. I think it's the most a women's division ever been paid out. So that was awesome. Another great moment in the sport this year. So, dude, 2018 has been a really, really good year.
Yep.
Not to mention all the great events we've had, great matches we've had, great submissions we've had. I watched many a man go to sleep this year, and it was outstanding. I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. And I think, talking about great events, another, I think, potential game changer in the sport is the new quintet. And this new concept of team jiu-jitsu tournaments. I think it's awesome. We had another event like it in Subversive that Fight to Win put on, and we're starting to see it become a really great method to kind of light the fire in some of these matches, because now all of a sudden, okay, it's one thing to say, oh, we're sub only, but if you get to a certain time, you get overtime and blah, 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 all these like weird Byzantine rules. Instead, if you're like, nah, if you don't get the sub, your team gets hurt, that changes the dynamics of everything.
Yeah, all the matches become I think you or Viana said it best.
I think Viana did.
It was, in quintet, you are losing until you win, because if you don't win the match by a submission, then you and the competitor that you're competing against are out, and you both lose a member of your team. So I think that rule change, that team battle, again, when that was first announced, I was super, not negative, but I was like, I don't think this is going to work very well. And then it happened, and I completely changed my tune on that. So again, yeah, that's really exciting. They're going to run more events. They had a fourth event scheduled for coming up, but they right now have not announced that Quintet 4. It was supposed to be in the UK, but it hasn't happened yet. So hopefully there'll be more of those events this coming year. But I think all 4 of those events this year have been amazing. Quintet 1, 2, 3, and the Quintet Fight Night were all just amazing.
And they're amazing from the beginning to the end, because every single match is important. It's not like, okay, like this match. No, every single match matters. Yeah. That's the other thing that it does. Not only is it forcing people to fight hard, but each match is significant in the overall outcome of the event. And it makes it so much like the weight of watching it.
I still love me a good super fight, honestly. When two guys come and bring it. But I think overall, from an event perspective, like to keep the action in the entire event, that format works really, really well for that.
Yep.
So those are our big watershed moments of the year. Other watershed moments of the year. I blew both my knees out this year. That was great. Yep. Co-host of the show, longtime co-host of the show, Josh Weinstock, got promoted to black belt this year as well. Another big watershed moment of the year.
Big deal.
I'm gonna ask you what's your moment. By the way, so start thinking as we record this. I'm gonna spring this on you.
Another watershed moment. You added brilliant commentator Emil Sandoz Rosado to Grappling Rewind.
I also learned how to spell your name finally. That is a watershed moment. Yeah. I stopped putting an E on it.
That's right.
I'm going to ask you at the end of the show, what was your moment of 2018? What was your moment of the year for you personally, like for your grappling moment of the year personally? Like what was your moment where I was like, God damn, this was amazing? And so, because I'm going to think about mine too, because we did this last year and I realized that I had not come up with my moment of the year either. And, so I'm going to spring it on you now that, hey, at the end of the show, I'm going to ask you what your moment of the year 2018 was.
Okay.
So while you think about that, let's move. Want to move into the matches of the year, or you want to move into some highlights or submissions of the year? What do you want to do?
Let's do matches.
All right, let's do matches of the year. So again, these are in no particular order. This is just 10 matches that Emil and I enjoyed the shit out of. We aggregated our list together, picked the best 10 that we both had together, and this is Emil and I's Grappling Rewind 2018 matches of the year. So, starting from the top, we had Muhammad Ali versus Rodolfo Vieira in black belt CBD.
Dude, this was huge. This was, not only was this a like awesome, grueling kind of like old school like from standing fight, but the significance of this match was
it was
so
the
important.
First time we'd seen Rodolfo in the gi in like 5 years, something like that.
5 years.
He never competed with his sister.
Yep.
His sister was also in the event, also won the event in the gi.
Right.
Or that was actually no gi. Women's was no gi.
Yeah.
But it was like that. It was amazing, and so to see the current world champion Muhammad Ali get beat by a former world champion who wasn't actively competing in jiu-jitsu, was just doing MMA, was just amazing. And the whole match was back and forth, tons of great X-guard work and dynamic positions, and it was just an amazing moment to watch this year, and it was a great match.
Yeah, it was a great match, and as you said, like, and the storyline is it's so cool. You know, like, we always love seeing I'm not gonna call Rodolfo Vieira like old guard, but you know, like, the sport is changing rapidly.
Oh yeah,
and we're starting to see a lot of the metagame switching from year to year, and to see someone who was active, I mean, he really began his reign like, 10 plus years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
So it's cool to see someone be able to come back and hang. I think that's one of the reasons why everyone loved the Hadra Gracie and Buchecha story
you
as well.
see that the old guard still has it, and I love these matches like that, because in like the Buchecha match and the Hadra match, you saw, oh shit, Hadra's like doesn't compete as much, but he's still got it, and it's the cream of the crop world champion level guy. And then again, they showed us that Rodolfo still has it against the cream of the crop current world champion level guy. Like, it just, those matches are not watershed moments, but like the match itself was really good, and the larger picture and story behind the match also made it great.
Hell yeah.
You got anything else to add on that one?
Nah.
All right. Next match/moment of the year was AJ getting double-legged off the stage at Polaris by Benson Henderson. This makes our match of the year, because everyone absolutely loved watching Benson Henderson double-leg AJ off the stage. The match was like back and forth and really active, and honestly, the match is a pretty good back-and-forth match with good action and lots of like dynamic transitions, good jiu-jitsu wrestling, which you don't see a ton of. But these guys are both good wrestlers, so it was cool to see that. But that one moment in that match puts it on this list pretty outstandingly.
Yeah, it was funny too, because you could see Benson getting chippy, which is like,
I love you use that term, chippy.
I mean, it's what he's getting like.
Emil's referring to heavy collar ties that aren't really collar ties, but where you're hitting them in the back of the neck with your forearm. Kind of like what Cyborg did to Gordon Ryan. He's getting chippy.
Well, yeah, there's that, but also like it seemed like Benson was like talking a little smack, which is uncharacteristic for him to be that pissed off.
Yeah. But if anyone's going to make him do it, it's AJ.
Yeah, evidently so. But it was, worthy match.
Yeah, so I think that's all I got for that one. Okay. It was just I thought that was a great moment to bring up on our matches of the year.
So this was awesome. The next one I'm gonna bring up is Gregor Gracie versus Amir Alam at Quintet, right?
Yeah.
So Quintet, this is Quintet 3, and basically you had Gregor come out of nowhere, right? So he's before this, he has a match with PJ Barch.
Yep.
And PJ's just on a fucking roll. Like, he just submitted Vitor Shalin, and Gregor comes in and is able to have this awesome triangle around PJ Barch's knees.
So it's funny. I realized actually that the match we're talking about now, so inner push of that. That's
I feel like both of them are worth mentioning, though.
Well, that's a submission. We have that on our list for submission highlights of the year.
Yes.
That double knee bar that Gregor Gracie hit. So we were doing this top 10 style, but given that this match...
this is one of the reasons why I like Quintet, because it builds the suspense, right?
And there's a narrative going here.
Exactly, which is that, okay, Gregor's team is down now, and he comes in, he submits PJ Barch with this awesome fucking submission that we'll talk about more, and then he goes into his second match and he looks exhausted. PJ's given him a run for his money. And
PJ's a pretty stock athlete.
Yeah.
And like no slouch with, conditioning and technique. And so we had a tough match with him, then goes into a match with a bigger dude in Amir Alam.
Yeah, and Amir's coming in fresh, and Amir's starting to throw his weight around. And credit to Eddie Bravo, because there are moments when Gregor's able to get top control, and I mean minutes before the submission, Eddie's calling out, "Hey, watch the Kimura, he's going for it." And sure enough, 3 or 4 minutes go by, and Gregor's able to lock up the Kimura after a ton of back and forth and switching top and bottom, and he's able to lock it in, and it looked painful.
Well, he rips that thing, and Amir is trying to get out, and Gregor just takes the Kimura and lifts him. He basically lifts him off the mat with the Kimura and or to throw his hips and weight into it and just turns and eventually is able to get the Kimura on him. But that whole lead up to the match and then the match itself being so back and forth and dynamic and then the stakes behind the match all wrapped into one, like just make it. And again, put it on this list for the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I was on the edge of my seat during this match.
I was on the edge of my seat during the entire event, but this match was again why we thought that event was so good. So you got anything else to add?
No.
All right, so let's move on to the next one. Next one is personal favorite for me. Wagner Hosha in the XFN match, the combat jiu-jitsu match, the smother choke.
This is the match that changed jiu-jitsu, talking about metagame shifting. I mean, like, this is what put the smother on the map, right? Like, we all knew it. It was kind of that dirty move that you know, the muscly guy that you train with might do every once in a while.
And you'd seen it before, but Wagner Hosha gets Alex Marin's back here, and he basically like starts to smother choke him. And I was watching this and I was going, he's not gonna fucking get him. Like, he's not gonna get that. He's using it to, because what guys do is they use it to like get the neck, and you get guys to freak out, but at a high level, like, no one taps to a smother choke. And then you see him hold it, and he's holding it, and he's holding it. You're like, he's trying to fucking tap him with the smother choke.
Yeah.
And then you watch, and you're like, you wait, and with like bated breath, and then you watched him tap him with the smother choke, and it was like, holy shit, it worked.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then we saw everyone and their brother going for smother chokes.
Craig Jones did it on Quintet 3.
Yep.
He did it to God, I can't remember the guy from 10th Planet.
Hit somebody's back and he was holding and trying to pull up the face, and we saw
Adam
this.
Saknov?
Might have been Saknov. I don't recall where it was, who he was doing it to. But I think it was Saknov, because he had one arm trapped. Yeah. He had one arm trapped and he was fighting the face. But like, we saw so many guys immediately do this. By the way, this was in August. So this has only been like 4 months, and we've already seen a bunch of dudes like using that smother technique
and women too, yeah.
And women, like using this technique to start to get the rear naked choke, or to just get guys to lift in the hand fight.
Yeah.
To lift the neck and give the neck up in that rear naked choke position.
We saw it in the women's EBI.
Yep. We saw that a bunch.
Yep.
Dude, we see this every week now.
Yeah.
Like, there are very few events that go by that don't have someone try to smother choke to get the neck on the back. Like, it is into the metagame. I have not seen something take off so much. Because, again, everyone knew about it. It wasn't like a move that, like, no one had seen before. Like, everyone who gets to probably, like, blue belt in jiu-jitsu has seen this and has tried it and has used it and has been messed with by some guy at their gym at one point. But Wagner Hosho in this match showed, like, hey, this is a legit technique that works at a black belt level, and a guy will give you his neck if you can hold your hand there long enough.
You know, now that you mention it, I think it's part of a larger thing, which is also just how people are viewing defending and attacking rear naked chokes in general, right? Like, I feel like in the past 2 years, maybe, we started to see people choke through the chin as well. Like, that's happening
Gary
more
Conan
and
does
more.
that a bunch, and Ryan does. I mean, a lot of the Danaher guys do. How do you say his name?
Danaher.
Man, I always want to make it that, like, different A.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys do that. I forget who said it, but I heard it years ago, and it was, everything above the neck is the neck.
Is that, I feel like Braulio Estimo was one of the first, like, people to really teach through and teach, at least as I recall, people talking about him saying, like, just choke through it. I know a lot of people have been mentioning, I think good coaches tell their students that tucking your chin is not a legitimate defense, but I feel like we've been seeing people more not bother trying to snake the arm through if they have their forearm across the chin.
If you can grab if you grab the opposite shoulder,
just finish.
Then you have the ability to finish. And in a lot of cases, sometimes you can't, sometimes you don't have to leverage, but a lot of times once you get to that position, you can finish it. So I think, this was another piece where you saw the transition from the metagame in that rear naked. This is the next step of rear naked choke finishing.
Which I think this ties into what Wagner was doing, which is just like, nah, fuck you. Like, if I have your back, I'm going to finish you.
But dude, that's why I love watching Wagner in this and a bunch of other things, like the Martian held wrist lock, which I don't think is on our list, but it was still, it was a great moment of the year. I just don't think it made the list this year. We see Wagner, it's like, it's not dirty if it's allowed. Like, if you're allowed to do it, it's not dirty. You are allowed to do it. And Josh has talked about this for years, Josh Weinstock, where it's like, if you're allowed to do it in the rules, it's not dirty, it's not mean, it's allowed. It's
Right.
part of you competing. Like if you want to compress a guy's ribs, or like if it's allowed, and you want to crank his neck. Like if it's allowed in your competition, there's nothing wrong with doing it. If the guy doesn't like it, he's welcome to tap, but it's not illegal, which makes it okay to do in competition. And Wagner took that to heart.
Yep.
And ran with it. So that was a great moment. So I'll move on to the next one.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
We have Rob Best versus Andrew Cockle. That was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I think this is at Finishers 6. I think is what this was at.
I remember this being one of the first matches when I was on board where I
This
had
was
to
one of
pull
the-
you. I had to pull you and be like, "Yo, check this out."
Because I think you had watched the event before me. I think is what had happened. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to watch the event. Are there anything I should be ready for? He goes, and Mia goes, watch this fucking match. And then
it's all over the place. It's
it goes to overtime, and that's when Andrew locks up that amazing triangle where basically Rob goes to turn in on his body.
This is from spiderweb.
Yeah, they start in the overtime, and he starts spiderweb, and Andrew just locks up a triangle as soon as Rob comes up, ends up putting Rob out and winning. And it was just we have a highlight on our Instagram that has us talking over the submission as it happens with it slowed down that I cut up to basically highlight how awesome the submission was. And but the whole match
was exciting. You know, you had Rob Best, who is like just Andrew Cockle is really athletic as well.
But Rob Best has his shirt off, looking jacked as shit.
Yep, he's amped. He's like, there's a couple of really slick submission attempts that Andrew slaps on there, and Rob is able to just fucking like rip out of them, and it's awesome takedowns, awesome just all over the place. So
super dynamic.
Really dynamic match. Exactly.
It was great. So it makes our matches of the year. So our next match of the year is going to be Tim Spriggs versus Lovato Jr. I don't know why I paused. Super weird. His name. Fight to Win Pro 64.
For added drama.
The Danaher style. It's like Tim Spriggs versus. He speaks like Shatner sometimes. You got to admit, he's got more dramatic pauses than any grown man should. So yeah,
You're not wrong.
This match I wanted to put in because, again, I really enjoyed this match, and it was a very, very slow technical. Well, it's not a slow technical match. It was a technical back and forth match that didn't really have any back and forth. It was just Lovato crawling up positions, taking Spriggs' back, walking up, taking a really cool body triangle, and then getting a choke. I wanted to put this match in here because it shows how good Lovato still is, because Spriggs, I want to say 6 or 7 months later, would go on to win ADCC East Coast trials, which is no small feat. And it shows you, and this match was contested in Nogi for Fight to Win. It shows the level of match that these guys put on, as well as Lovato's still got it. And even if guys win at these high levels, win West Coast trials, there's dudes that they're still out there that can still take them. And I really enjoyed this match.
Was it Spriggs or Jackson that won Nogi Worlds?
Spriggs, I think.
Yeah,
I think Spriggs just won. Yeah, literally, Spriggs just won Nogi Worlds as well. So it proves the level of Nogi that Spriggs has, and then Lovato in this format can come in a 10-minute match, finish him. And this is for a title as well for Fight to Win. So it was a really impressive match from Lovato's standpoint, as well as just a fun match. From a technical, big guy technical perspective, you see less technique like this from big guys, and I really enjoyed this match. So that's why it makes my list.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, anything else you want to add about that, Emil?
No, it's a decisive victory.
All right, so the next match we're going to go on to.
We're going to Gamblers Mike Padilla versus Mike Bruno. And this match was fucking amazing. This is from Gamblers, the
Gamblers
Zapateros.
Invitational 1, Zapatero. It was going to be Zapatero 18, but I think they did it as Zapatero presents Gamblers Invitational.
Yeah, and basically Mike...
Or 16, not 8. I don't know, one of those.
Putting this down to one match is a little difficult, but Mike Padilla's entire run is fucking phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
He's such an entertaining grappler. It's awesome across all levels, whether it be stand up or down on the ground, leg attacks. I mean, this particular match had a ton of leg attacks, and it's just one of those. There are times when you see really proficient back and forth leg attacks where it's tepid almost. You know, like both people kind of sit down, and it almost looks like a chess match. Right?
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to put my hand here, you're going to put your arm here, I'm going to put my foot here. And it's like, and it's very methodical in like, I move here, you move here, or I try to outbeat you in this move. And it gets like, it's very interesting to watch, but it's not scrambly.
Right. It doesn't have that, like impetus and like the explosiveness that really like draws you in. And I remember this is actually the first match that we started doing. Rewind recommends, and I would definitely recommend just watching Mike Padilla in Gamblers.
He's also he has another match in our list of the year. Not necessarily in matches of the year, but in matches we wanted to highlight for the year. So a little later, he has another match. So there's a reason why he's on this top 10 list here.
Super entertaining.
It was a really fun back and forth match, and it was just like I think Padilla put on a really good performance in this entire event. Next match we have is Barbosa versus Deniz in the Worlds.
Oh man, this was right before semis. I think this match was fucking so good. Like this is probably. This match, I think, more than any, stands out in my head.
Yeah.
In terms of just like sheer excitement, and I think I was yelling at some point because it was just so unexpected.
I think I stood up during this match.
So
like Lucas Barbosa and Mateus Deniz put on like you walk us through the match, Emil.
So I mean, like this looked like it was gonna be like Deniz's emergence, right? Like he just starts taking it to Hulk, and at one point he's able to like just really violently take the back, and he sinks in this cross collar choke from the back, and it is fucking tight. I mean, like,
and you're looking at like, okay, you're waiting for him to tap or pull out some miracle and escape. I was like, either he's gonna tap, there's no way he's not gonna tap.
And I remember just like being so fucking amped for this because, especially in Worlds, there's so often where someone will get an advantageous position and then they're like, okay, cool, I just got to ride this out for like
the next 8.5 minutes.
Right. And I want to say there was something like 3 minutes or 4 minutes. There was a long time left.
Oh, yeah, there was enough time where it's like, you're going to have to move and work a little bit because the ref's just not going to let you hold here. You're going to have to do some work. But he's in a position where it's like he's going to finish.
And he's just like, he just goes ham on this cross-collar choke. And it, like, I swear to, I was like, this is awesome. He's going to get the tap. And, like, maybe inches, like, just seconds from getting a tap. And Hulk is able to kind of rotate just enough and then gets a reversal and then, like, breaks through and passes, gets to the back.
In the same way.
In the same sequence. And then he sinks in the same fucking choke on Deniz and gets the fucking tap. It was like this, the sequence was just bonkers.
It was a movie style sequence where it's like, oh, he's got him hurt, and then it reverses and then he finishes him with what he just got
with
him.
The same sequence. Like, oh man.
And especially at a world, like in a gi world championship for IBJJF, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Again, it's again why it's on this list. Highly recommend you go back and watch this entire sequence. Like, beautiful,
right? Beautiful
sequence.
And this was like, you know, Hulk was on his way to winning that Worlds. So like, who's to say what would have happened? You know,
had he tapped?
Just like, who knows? Like a centimeter of grip adjustment, or just like a couple seconds. You know, like it's so close to just like changing how that division plays out.
Yeah, it's moments like that which a big reason why we love to cover this, because like you get on a rare occasion you get things like that that just make you go holy shit. Like the MMA, you get the MMA moments, what I call them, where it's just like some crazy sequence or transition or reversal happens. It's like, I cannot believe that he was able to do that, because you know how good both guys are. And then the fact that he's able to get that close on one guy and then get a reversal and then get the finish on the other guy, it's amazing, and it's so rare it deserves special recognition.
Hell yeah.
So our next match is an Emil favorite. We had Wagner Hosha versus Taquinho at Fight to Win.
Dude, this fucking match. This was, I think this was a remarkable match, period, but it's especially remarkable because it's the first time I've ever watched a match that was like significantly from the 50-50 position that was a fucking barn burner. You know, like just super exciting. Both sides being really proficient and not doing, stally stuff, but like truly sweeping.
Wagner was working for the submission. Taquinho was working for the submission. They were both looking to sweep and transition from inside and outside 50-50. Like
Wagner doing like these really dope inversions from 50-50 leg attacks, like an alternating.
It was both guys at a super high level that know how to play 50-50, but also know how to get in and to get out of it. Because you see guys get into 50-50 all the time, and it turns into this stall match, and it's rough to watch. And we see it we see it less than we used to see it, but we still see it now. But to see guys like Wagner and Taquinho that are able to get into it and then get out of it at will without leaving their legs out there is amazing, especially with the kind of finisher that Wagner is.
Right.
To see like both those guys walk into that position and walk out of that position it was beautiful to watch, and for once it wasn't a boring ass 50-50 match.
Right. And the rarity with which you see like actual like exciting back and forth sweeping, not like this like seesaw like.
Oh, no, it was like legitimate sweeps where it's like, oh, man, you knocked him over and you came up on that.
Right.
It wasn't
and now
like,
you're attacking.
oh, your butt touched, you get the points. It was like, no, this is fight to win. There are no points here. It was just like who's working more and who's more active, and both guys were getting the sweeps, getting the transitions, and it was just like, it was a back and forth of 50-50. And then, any more about the 50-50?
No.
Then to cap it off,
Right.
Wagner, in the dying seconds of the match, gets Taquinho's back.
Right.
And we're like, oh, shit. He might fucking
And he
finish
starts
him.
doing the fucking Wagner shit.
Yep.
It was fucking awesome. Like, it was just doing smothers, like, just raking arms across the
Because it was
face.
real back and forth to that point. It was like, this is anyone's match at this point. And then Wagner, in the dying seconds, gets that back and is able to get the victory on the decision. And you're like, holy shit, that was amazing.
Yep. That was a banging match.
Yeah, so go back and find that one. It was worth it. So, final match of the top 10 for the year is John Vina versus Brock Schultz.
Yeah, this is
in
that
SAGC 7.
This is a complete dark horse match. It's a prelim on a smaller promotion.
That we happen to commentary for.
We happen to be commentating, but like the match is up on YouTube. Go and watch it. It is a fucking awesome match. Like I remember this match very vividly, and I second guessed myself. I was like, man, like maybe I got caught up in the moment.
We rewatched it before we put it. It was like, I don't want to be too biased. We did commentary for the event, so it was like, I don't want to be biased. I want to put a match up on there that maybe doesn't deserve to be on the same match. And then Emil and I went back and rewatched it, and immediately we're like, oh yeah, this is a really fucking good match. Like this is a match you'd show guys that like weren't necessarily as into grappling. It's like why grappling can be dynamic and interesting and fun, and we don't sound like dumbasses on it. Because I was like, because I couldn't put a match up there that we commentated. We sound like idiots.
We probably do sound like idiots, but
we sound like idiots every week.
You can mute it if you want. And just the match is fucking incredible. It's really, really fast and all over the place.
Submission attempts on both sides, back and forth movements, like inversions and guys going in and out of position, in and out of subs, good defense, good attacks.
And this was a really interesting format because it was 3 5-minute rounds, and submission would just end the round and earn you points, but you'd still have to fight through the remaining rounds.
Right.
So it made it like super dynamic, and the camera work. Maine doesn't like the camera work in terms of.
I do like the camera work.
Well, I think you prefer static angles. I like
the
dynamic.
I like the dynamic. I just want a little more light.
Got it. Yeah.
I like my life to be like you've
I
seen.
think it was plenty of light. I think it looks dope. It looks really cinematic.
You've been in my basement where we record. The lights are like studio lights above you. Like my basement is so bright, it's amazing. That's how I like my life.
Okay.
I like white balance and just washed out.
Well, regardless, this is fucking worth going back and watching. It's on YouTube. Definitely go check it out.
Yeah. So quick run through of the top 10 matches. Muhammad Ali versus Rodolfo Vieiro on CBD. We had AJ Agazarm versus Benson Henderson on Polaris. We had Gregor Gracie versus Amir Alam on Quintet. We had Wagner Hosha versus, I only have Wagner Hosha's name written down like an asshole. Where is it? And I took it off. Versus Mike, I think. On XFN, the Smothered Choke, we had Rob Best versus Andrew Cockle on Finishers. We had Lovato Low versus Tim Spriggs on Fight to Win. We had Mike Padilla versus Mike Bruno on the Gamblers Invitational. We had Lucas Hulk Barbosa versus Mateus Diniz on IBJJF Worlds. We had Wagner Hosha versus Taquino on Fight to Win, and we had John Vina versus Brock Stoltz on SAGC 7.
Yeah.
So that is our top 10 of the year in no particular order, and just the matches that we kind of enjoyed the most and think deserve a rewatch moving into 2019.
Hell yeah.
All right, so moving into the next section, we're going to talk about basically the highlights, submissions of the year, and like the moments of the year. We want to do them all at once because there's some of them that are kind of both. So we have a bunch of submissions that we thought were like, goddamn amazing, and then a bunch of moments that were like, also goddamn amazing. So I'm going to start this one off. We had Hideo Tokoro, his Imanari roll to armbar on Hung Jung Kim
Jesus
at Polaris.
Fucking Christ, dude. Oh, man, that is such a gangster move. Like,
dude, at the beginning of the match, too, like, the match starts, we're like, go, and he's like, what do I do? Imanari roll to armbar. You're like, what the fuck? You're like, has he drilled that? Is that a thing he does?
Have you noticed, like, Imanari rolls are only ever at the very beginning of a match? Like, no one's, like 3 minutes in, like, oh, fuck, I'm going to Imanari roll now. Like, no. It's like, all right, let's fucking do this, and either you live or you die by the sword, right?
You live or die by the Imanari.
Yeah.
Dude, like the Marvin Castillo heel hook last year was like, 2 seconds to the match, bitter Imanari roll, take your leg.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a move you see. Dude, I'm not going to lie. Whenever I throw them, I always know at the beginning of the match. Like, you're just like, better do an Imanari roll.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's not some shit you do when you're tired.
No.
Like, you're not going to roll over your shoulder dynamically and snatch the leg up.
No.
And so he hits this beautiful, like, honestly, like, the 25-second match total, if that. Beautiful moment, beautiful armbar, great submission, and deservedly on this list. It was just like, honestly, we've talked about it longer than it is. Go back and find this one, watch it, and it's on Quintet. Next one is another Quintet finish, Gio Martinez versus Hasim Rida.
Jesus.
Hasim's got to be at least like 3 to 8 feet taller than
Dude,
Gio.
this match played out like fucking like a Bruce Lee movie, like where he's like, what is it like?
Trying to kill the giant.
Yeah, he's. What's the name of that fucking movie? It's
Enter the Dragon.
I don't think it's Enter the
Chinatown.
Dragon. It's like the Danger Game or
Rumble
like,
in the Bronx.
No, dude. Now you're
RoboCop
mixing up.
3.
You're God damn it, Maine.
Rumble in the Jungle.
Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, he's like
by the way,
fighting Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
By the way, I know I was listening to a bunch of Jackie Chan movies. That's the joke.
Yeah.
Don't get on me about like I don't know that they're not Bruce Lee movies.
Yes. Yeah, that's the one where he's fighting Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. This is the same fucking thing. Like, Hassam Rida towers over Gio. It's fucking. It doesn't look real. Like,
yeah. And Gio's able to get his neck and roll him over and lock up like a super tight guillotine where he has his legs around and like under and locked behind Hassam Rida's back and is able to get this beautiful guillotine finish. And it just looks, the whole sequence just looks absurd. And
it's absurd,
beautiful.
and you can hear the fucking the crowd of all Japanese dudes like fucking lose their goddamn minds because like Japan loves nothing more than a goddamn freak show, and this is like the perfect.
Dude, we all pretend like we all don't love a goddamn freak show. Japan just embraces it and lets the commission sanction it. Like, we all want to see Bob Sapp fight whoever at whatever weight class. Gabby Garcia fight whoever at whatever weight class. Like, we want to see it. Japan's we know what you want to see.
No,
we got you.
Don't, dude. But I will say this is a fucking phenomenal finish on Gio's part.
It's a great finish. Next finish, again, this might be recency bias, but Josh Cisneros' choke at Fight to Win, the teepee choke he hits, where he just like the match starts, slides into the DMs there, grabs the collars, puts his legs around, and puts dude to sleep.
I think it's how the guy falls, like that makes this choke. Like he is out.
He's sitting up,
unfucking conscious. Like not like woozy or dizzy or seeing stars. Like,
asleep.
Dude is just asleep.
And then Josh just drops him and he goes the thumb back and like that can't be good for your brain. But and the ref takes his mouth guard out and goes, oh shit, he is very asleep. And Josh gets up. We're gonna see big things out of Josh. He has a bunch of highlight reel submissions, and this is just the most recent one. But the speed at which he hits this fucking teepee choke is just brilliant.
I think his opponent is like flat on the mat in 15 seconds. Like he's probably falling at like 13 seconds.
Something like that. It's close, but it's like a beautiful submission, like just smooth, clean, fast, brutal. Everything we love here at the Grappling Rewind. Like we like great technical submissions as well as we like when someone goons a choke. So these two previous submissions really really showcase what we love with the Grappling Rewind here.
Goon that shit.
Goon that shit. Another one. Goddamn, I realized we have 3. I did not order these correctly. We have 3 quintet submissions in a row. Gordon Ryan's triangle of Josh Barnett.
Yep. Yeah.
This was insane to watch live. I remember watching this. I'm sorry. No, watch this after the fact because I couldn't watch it live. And I was in the chat like, yo, if anyone spoils quintet, I'll be pissed. And I watched it I think a day or a couple hours later. And I was like, did you guys see this? You're like, yeah, we didn't want to say anything because Gordon Ryan locks up a triangle on Josh Barnett. And Josh Barnett has been submitted like once by Ben Rothwell in the UFC. Like once ever. Like, dude doesn't get subbed frequently at all. Better yet, by chokes.
Yeah.
Like, he's a brick of a man. And Gordon Ryan's a big-ass dude, but he's not Josh Barnett big.
Yeah.
And Gordon Ryan locks up a triangle and then, like, slides down on his leg and then shakes Josh Barnett so that Josh Barnett can't lift him out of the triangle. And it was just the most gangster move I've ever seen of just like he's so confident in his triangle that he shakes Josh Barnett down with his body whilst hooking the leg and changing the angle so that Barnett can't escape.
Yeah. It's fucking unreal.
Like
unbelievable.
And beautiful technique too. Just like I was like, I think Barnett's gonna pull his head out, and then I watched Gordon shake. I was like, oh, Gordon.
You could almost see like Josh go, oh fuck, this like he's
Right.
not accustomed to having to worry
Who's gonna
about.
triangle Josh Barnett?
Yeah, no.
Like nobody.
Yeah.
Like I don't
You're gonna
recall.
get squashed.
I don't recall him ever being threatened with a triangle.
I can't think of it.
Better yet, like in a deep triangle, as I got to escape. Like no, it's like he locks up that triangle, and then I thought Barnett was gonna pop his head out for a split second, and then I watched Gordon adjust the choke, and it was just like, oh, Gordon's adjusting this to like stop him from posturing up. He has this in deep, and we know Gordon has a real good triangle. We saw him triangle Halleck at will. Like we know he has a good triangle. And this was just further evidence of that. And the size disparity was big. It was the first time we'd seen Gordon. Not the first time. I think he had one match before. But seeing him versus Barnett, that was the big matchup that everyone was talking about leading up to that tournament. Like, ooh, how are these two going to match up? And they matched up. And we saw very quickly how they matched up.
Yeah.
So that's in our submissions of the year. For the next one we got is Seth Daniels versus Shoney Carter at Fight to Win. Emil and I just went back and rewatched this magical moment in grappling.
I forgot how hot the hot pants were. Holy fucking shit.
If you don't remember this one, this is the one where Shoney Carter comes out in what I can only term as a red Speedo. I think
It's pink. It was bright pink.
Was it pink?
Yeah.
Am I colorblind?
I think you're colorblind, dude.
I swear to God it was
That was
red.
bright
I
pink.
swear to God it was red.
Oh, nope. No. That was pink.
Is it really?
That was pink, dude.
I feel like you're fucking with me.
No, man. Get your eyes checked.
All right, well, a bright pink or red Speedo. And
Unless it's my eyes that are fucked.
and just that alone. And Seth Daniels shows up like a grappler with like spats on and stuff. And he proceeds to get Shoney Carter in a triangle. And again, aside from being just a great submission.
Triangle or twister?
What'd I say?
Triangle.
Nah, that's not what I meant. I meant a twister.
Yeah.
They both start with T. I got confused.
Yes.
So he gets him in a twister, and then you see Seth talking to Shoney. And you're like, what the fuck is he saying? And later, a couple days after that, Seth posted on Facebook exactly what him and Shoney were talking to the match. And Seth was like, I have it. Do you want me to do it? Because I have it. And Shoney goes, show me what a triangle feels like.
Twister.
God damn it, I keep messing up the thing. Show me what a twister feels like. And Seth proceeds to finish, and Shoney taps. And it's just this really great sequence. And this is before Seth put out his DVD of Seth only knows 4 moves, which is like the sweep, a Kimura series, the twister, and a reverse triangle. But it's like, you see Seth compete on Fight to Win. Like, he owns Fight to Win, runs Fight to Win, and commentates Fight to Win, and then competes on Fight to Win. And that's what he does. He does 4 moves, but he does them really well. And he's a goddamn black belt in those 4 moves. So this was a great match to watch, and has some very selective camera work in it, so you don't get a certain side of Shoney Carter there.
Yeah.
And so go back and rewatch that and relive what we lived in 2018. You got anything else to add on that one, Emil?
No, there's nothing more to say.
All right. Next match we had, actually not match. It's a moment we had in 2018 was Buchecha giving the absolute title to Leandro Lau at the Worlds this year.
That's a big fucking deal. Like, I knew those dudes are tight, but like, that's a different fucking level.
Different, because it would have been Buchecha's. I'm gonna fuck this up. 12th world title.
Yeah, I think
12th.
he has 11 now.
He has 11 now, which is more than Hodger. Hodger only has 10, and it would have been his 12th. And Lowe got injured the match before by Ali in the I think it was in weight. It was in the weight class of the worlds.
Yeah, yep, it was.
Yep, in weight, and he gets injured by Ali. He like pops his shoulder out, or like I actually never figured out what the injury was. What he did injure, in fact, and he pulls out and he gets injured and he's out, and you realize, oh shit, he's still got to go against Buchecha at the finals for absolute. And they walk out, and you're like, okay, Buchecha's going to take it because Lowe can't compete because Lowe's wrapped up, covered in ice packs, and he gives it to Lowe.
Yeah.
And it was just like, holy shit, he gave it to Lowe.
Yeah. That was fucking unbelievable. Like, now, I didn't see Lowe, like, upsetting Buchecha, like...
Oh, no, that was Buchecha's to lose.
Right.
Like, dude has that many...
But the gesture was fucking...
The gesture was amazing. It was just like, oh, man, our sport's really fucking cool, where it's like, that's not how Buchecha wanted to win it. He's like, yeah, I can get this closeout, like, win medal. Not closeout, but, like, I can get this injury medal, but, like... I don't want that to be my 12th world title.
Right.
Like, I'm not about that.
Right.
And, like, you're my boy, and, like, we're cool, and, like, we go way back.
Yeah.
Here's this absolute world title.
Yeah.
Like, I give it to you.
It's such a cool gesture.
And I didn't see a lot of the stuff because I don't read Portuguese, and I didn't translate all the Portuguese stuff, but it was really cool to lead up after that, like, him explaining it, and, like, you realize how deep those guys go, and it was...
they're fucking tight.
It was really cool, and it was definitely like a highlight moment of the year because it completely threw me off guard because I don't think anyone expected Buchecha to give it to Lowe.
No, it's unprecedented.
Yeah, it really is. That's actually a good use of the word. An unprecedented gesture at that level. Like, 12 could have had 12 world titles. Now he's got 11. And, like, that's a tough... probably not a tough pill to swallow if you have 11 world titles, but he's running out of fingers at that point.
His way back to his fucking...
I'm so sad. I'm so good at jiu-jitsu. I got so many world titles. You're gonna have to start putting rings on his toes at that point.
Yeah, no.
So, but that was a really cool moment. Next moment, goddamn, Quintet had a banger year.
Yeah.
Holy shit. We talked about it earlier. Gregor Gracie's double knee bar of PJ Barch, or like double sideways knee twisty thingy that he did that they called a knee bar, but I don't really know what I would call it, but it was looked painful.
Fucking sweet is what it was.
It was some sweet ass shit.
Yep.
That's the best way to put it. Gregor Gracie gets PJ Barch's legs like figure forward above the knee, and basically has PJ Barch's both of his legs on his kidneys. So he's basically looking at PJ Barch's back. He's trying with the legs, and he opens PJ Barch's legs sideways, and to basically cause like outward knee compression on the legs in this weird submission, and gets Barch to tap, and it's just like, what the fuck was that?
Yep.
But it was again a what the fuck is that submission of the year, and deservedly on this list.
Hell yeah.
And then next submission we have is Keenan Cornelius, had to put him on the list, versus Yuri Samoa's ACB JJ 13. Keenan Cornelius hits a reverse omoplata.
Fucking gangster, dude.
Dude.
That is so fucking gangster.
Yeah, everyone's like, well, he's not going to hit that. He can't do that. And he hits it. And if you've never seen a reverse omoplata, I literally can't, in audio format, probably explain it well enough to actually make it make sense.
Yeah, just go and watch it.
It's free. It's free on YouTube. Go back and search ACBJJ13. The whole video is up on YouTube, and you can go back and you can watch this crazy ass sequence where Keenan goes, "I can finish like this," and I think the commentators even go, "He's going for a reverse omoplata," and then like he hits it, and you go, "Oh my god, Keenan is fucking good. He's a gi wizard."
Yep.
And
because omoplatas are rare enough in and of themselves. It finishes.
There's a couple guys. I mean, Keenan has a lot. Clark Gracie has a lot, but like at a high level, there's a
Yuri Samoa type fucking talent.
Oh yeah, no, you don't see a whole lot of them, but like because there's escape options and there's a turn that you see as it's coming, and there's enough like scramble ability to escape out of them that you don't see a shitload of them at a world level. Like a lot of rear naked chokes, a lot of arm bars, a lot of like a trite of leg attacks, but like omoplatas, you don't see as much. So a reverse omoplata is just a particular like what the fuck kind of submission, especially to hit on a guy like Yuri.
Yeah.
So it was it deservedly on this list. By this list, I have no idea how many numbers it is. It's just like a bunch of items that we thought needed to be on a list.
Yeah.
So we put it on there. Next thing we got is the Scorpion Deathlock at Subspectrum 6 by Adam Bradley. I love this submission.
Yeah.
It's
I forgot how fucking fast it came on.
Dude, his arm gets jacked. The best way I can put this is it's almost like an Americana when you're behind the guy and you use a heel hooking motion to attack the elbow and shoulder.
Right.
And that's not going to make any sense on audio, but you should go Google what this is, and it will make more sense then.
Yeah, and basically it's from a scarf hold position.
Like a reverse scarf.
A reverse
hold.
scarf,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. And, yeah, so just lightning quick adjusting the arm in between the legs and snapping it, and it looked fucking, like,
Looked painful as shit.
excruciating.
But because that's just a weird submission, like you don't expect to be controlled in that position, and then the arm gets away from you and it turns away, and there's really the mechanics of it are most times when your arm is in that position, you're not sideways and flat, so you're in the wrong angle to adjust the arm out of it, so it comes on really straight, and it's a really cool submission. I use a variation of this from a different position than this, but it's a really cool submission. You don't see a whole lot. Very, very hard to control the guy enough to actually hit without having it be a flash sub.
It's also really impressive because there's really not a whole lot of attacks you can do from like
Reverse scarf hold.
Yeah.
No. You have some weird funny chokes and some fist chokes, and like you have some like compressions and cranks, but like as far as joint submissions, there's not a whole lot you can do from that position, and it's really cool to see a guy hitting one of those in a competitive setting. So,
Hell yeah.
especially on a broadcast event like Subspectrum. So it is deservedly on this list as well. Next match we have is Mike Padilla versus Wilson Hayes at Fight to Win Pro Philly. Might have been just Fight to Win. Fight to Win Philly. This was a great back and forth match. Partially for the context of the match, Mike Padilla was filling in for a buddy that passed away, or there was a death that had happened in the community, and Mike Padilla was filling a slot for a friend of that guy who could not compete and showed up to compete against Wilson Hayes, dope competitor, and they had a barn burner of a back and forth match. And the match ended with Padilla on the bottom in a head and arm, and Wilson Hayes just selling out for a head and arm choke, and Mike Padilla, with 10 seconds left, puts his hand in the air and shakes one finger in the air like, it's not even close. You're not going to get me. And Wilson Hayes sells out the choke, doesn't get it, and it goes to decision. But the whole match, I was at this match live. There's a special place in my heart because I was watching this. I was like, what the fuck? I was like right on the backstage area watching this, and it was just an insane barn burner back and forth between these two guys. Just going hard for the sub, playing into the Fight to Win rule set. It was a great performance from both guys. So let me just look one more pass through my list. I don't think I've missed anything. All right, so Emil, let's go on to walkout of the year.
The motherfucking walkout of the year. I have one.
So everything else is a list.
It's
but
near and dear to my fucking heart. This is Team Polaris at Quintet 3 walked out to the theme song to The Last Mohicans called The Gale, and it's fucking awesome. It's super cinematic.
Yeah, and you watch, as they're starting to play it, you hear the Crazy Pride Lady yelling the names at, the start of Quintet, and you see Vitor Shaolin just like shaking his head, like getting ready, and you're like, damn, and they walk out to that, and you're like, holy shit.
I fucking love that team, man. Like, yeah, you have Vitor Shaolin, you have Gregor Gracie, you have Marcin Held, you have Craig Jones and Dan Strauss. Like, all of those dudes are.
This is on Quintet 3.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It was a fun ass event, and that walkout was
so fucking amped hearing that. I was like, I can't fucking believe it. It's dope. Go watch just or listen to the song. Go watch some walkout to it. It's fucking dope. What's yours, man?
It was great. My walkout is none other than Troy Everett, the Night Pigeon Everett. He walked out to, I gotta look at what Fight to Win it is, and I'll cut it in here. He walked out to a Backstreet Boys song, and as he's walking out, he looks at the hat, and he's got like a jacket, and he's walking out to the song, and he throws the jacket over his shoulder, and I was like, oh, that's funny. And then he comes into the light, and I realize it's a fucking gi. He has a gi jacket. He has like the Backstreet Boys back in the day. He walks out to that, and it was the funniest thing I have seen as a walkout ever. It made me. Troy's has some good walkouts, and again, that's why this category isn't steep towards him in any way, but he's had some great walkouts. But that walkout, for some reason, made me laugh so hard when I saw it. I was like, that's amazing. And it's just props to Troy, props to Team Polaris, both those great walkouts. Emil, you have your walkout. Like that is definitely though my walkout of the year.
Yeah, dude. Like it's great to like have that kind of like theatrical element. You know,
It was
like
fun. Like
not just like okay, we're gonna fucking.
We're gonna do jujitsu like
Yeah.
men. And Troy was like, "Nah, I'm gonna have fun with this," and it's just great. I like the lightheartedness of the walkout. Like yours is great because it has that like epic cinematic element. They're walking out to compete in this team event where like every match matters, and Troy's walking out like, "This is jujitsu. This is fun. Like have a good time. Biggest party in grappling." Like I like that the sport can do both, and they can both be like, you enjoyed that one the most. I enjoyed Troy's the most, and it's great. All right, Emil. So we're starting to wrap up the show. The question I asked you at the beginning of the show is, what's your grappling moment of 2018? Like, what's the moment for you that really was like a really special moment that was something that you enjoyed the most of 2018? I don't know if you've had enough time to think about it yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a no-brainer for me, and it's not exactly a grappling moment, but it's when we did the live commentary for SAGC 7.
Oh,
that
that's
was
a good one.
Fucking awesome.
That was really cool.
That was like such a cool event. Like it was obviously great to live call an event and to have that experience. It was great because they were super theatrical too. Like they had those crazy lights and you know the really dynamic camera work, but then also the fucking matches were like super fucking entertaining
I was really
as well.
surprised about that.
And it made our job so much easier. You know, like it felt natural. It's like, oh yeah, I can talk about this. There's really cool shit going on right now.
I can talk about this all day. It's like, wow, because all the guys are going hard on subs and transitioning. There's no time at the entire event where I was sitting there like, God damn, if these guys would progress position, that would be fucking great. Like we had other stuff lined up we were going to talk about if matches got slow, that we had a page of stuff that we just didn't get to talk about during the matches because the matches were just going and it was like movement and there was action and it was entertaining. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah. How about you, Maine? What's your moment of the year?
Well, now you're making me second guess my moment of the year. I think I'm going to stick with it. I think my moment of the year it would be I got to train with Shane Jamil Taylor this year.
Yeah.
And we had a seminar with him, and then I got to roll around with him where he was super nice to me and repeatedly fucked me up. It was great. But I think it's really cool because in our sport, I paid for a seminar from a dude that's the current black belt world champion in the gi in the weight class that I compete in. And then I got to train with that dude.
Yeah.
Like, there are very few other sports like that in the world. Like, there's no amount of money I can play to go, like, play a professional baseball game or, like, go train with, like, Tom Brady or Drew Brees or pick your other football player guys, do stuff. Like, do a tackle drill with, like, pick your lineman. I don't know, like, football or, like, basketball. I can't go play a game with LeBron. But I can go, and, like, Shane came to the gym I train at.
Right.
And, like, I got to do a round with that dude and, like, learn from him and ask him questions. Like, hey, how do you do this technique? I saw you at the Worlds this year do this a lot. Or, like, what was your game plan going? I get to talk to the guy and then train with him and do a round with a dude at a level of jiu-jitsu that I will never get to. And that's totally fine. But I got to go experience that for the first time this year. And that was just, like, the coolest thing that I had done in jiu-jitsu. You know, up to this point. So that was like, I think that's definitely my moment of 2018.
Absolutely, man.
So I love how like we've done, this is the second time I've done this. We did one last year, we did one this year. So I'm building this repertoire of like having to think about the end of the year every year what my moment of the year is.
Yeah, no. I think it's good to reflect, you know,
yeah,
in general.
It's definitely not blowing both knees out. That's definitely not,
low light.
Is not the highlight of my year.
Yeah.
So what happens? Like I popped my LCL. I had a first knee injury of the year. That happened. And then like 4 months later, I did it again on the other knee because I'm stupid. It was definitely not the highlight of the year. So so that's my not highlight of the year, Emil. What is your not highlight of the year? Because I'm throwing this to you at the end. Your not highlight of the year. What's the shit thing that happened to you in jiu-jitsu this year?
Oh, man.
Any injuries?
Going unconscious.
Oh, you got choked unconscious?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I forgot what mine was last year. But yeah, you got choked unconscious.
Yeah, I thought I was getting out of a bow and arrow choke, and I just fucking went to the shadow realm briefly, so.
Dude, that's like 3 times a year for me. I want to say I only got put to sleep like 2 or 3 times this year.
Man, you still got to improve that.
Dude, I think in 2016 it was like 4 or 5 times.
Dude, oh my God.
And then someone was like, "Yeah, it shouldn't happen." I was like, "Wait, what?" You're just like occasionally just find a choke too hard. It's like, No,
Nah, dude.
you eventually like happened. Like you don't go to sleep. I was like, oh, I didn't know. It's not like a common thing.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't know that. So in 2019, I'm going to try to go to sleep. I think once every quarter and a half is a reasonable amount of time to go to
No,
sleep.
dude.
I train every single day. I train 6 to 7 days a week.
Doesn't matter. You don't have to fucking go to sleep.
But I'm trying to get out. Like occasionally I think I'm going to get out, and then occasionally I'm wrong about that. It's like, I think I'll get out of this choke, and then you see the world close, and you're like, oh, I'm really close. I'm fighting the hands. I'm getting the angle off, and then occasionally you get out, and then even more rarely you don't get out, and then you go to a little sleep time.
Yeah. No. Just
So that was
your.
your not moment of 2018. It was
Yes.
going to sleep
Yeah.
in a bow and arrow choke.
Yep.
Yeah. I probably could put to sleep by bow and arrow chokes twice a year. Not going to lie. Like, it's probably usually almost once by Rachel. She does it almost once a year. Where it's like, I'm going to get out of
Just
this.
fucking tap. Tap. Save your brain cells, man. Come on.
Yeah, I need those, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So anything else you want to add, Emil, for our
That's
end of
it.
the year show?
It's been awesome.
It's been great. Looking forward to another year of the Grappling Rewind. Thanks
That's right.
to all the guys on the team. Thanks, Emil, you coming in, filling the slot when we needed you, becoming the standard co-host for the show. Josh getting his black belt, having to step away for a while. Ryan, Matt, all you guys, we put together a really cool team, and I'm looking forward to another year of it as we slowly figure out how to cover this crazy goddamn sport that we do.
Amen, man.
All right. As always, I'm your host, Maine.
And I'm Emil.
We are the Grappling Rewind. See you on the mats. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We have Google Plus.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
Let us know.
reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.